Jung believed that the shadow is the most repressed part of the self. He believed that civilization forces a person to amputate entire dimensions of their potential in exchange for belonging. The shadow begins forming very early, not because the child is wrong, but because the environment makes the child choose survival over truth. The child notices which behaviors are rewarded and which behaviors are punished, which emotions get affection and which ones get rejection. The child's nervous system records these patterns like law, as if they are facts. Jung said, "The shadow is built out of everything you decided would get you abandoned." And this is the soul tragedy. Most people bury their highest potentials because those potentials once threatened their belonging. A child with a bold voice will mute it. A child with intense curiosity will tame it. A child with leadership energy will shrink it. This is how the future is killed in advance. Jung said that purpose is not discovered in external life. Purpose is recovered from the internal death you committed against yourself. The shadow is the tomb where meaning sleeps. It is the graveyard of the self. And so, a human being who wants to understand their purpose cannot begin with what job fits me. They have to begin with what parts of myself did I kill to survive. This is where Jung is not motivational. He is surgical. He is forensic. He tells a human being, your life will not change until you face the crimes you committed against your own essence. This is the nature of shadow work. It is not aesthetic. It is not cute. It is grief. It is the realization that the person they became was a strategy, not a destiny. A strategy to not be abandoned, a strategy to not be humiliated, a strategy to not be punished. So Jung gives the first key. Purpose is the original self you protected by burying it. Here is the paradox. Most people think purpose is about what to add to their lives. Jung believed purpose is what you remove. You remove the false self, you remove the mask, you remove the performance, and the real purpose is already there, buried under the rubble of adaptation. Jung observed something dark. The shadow usually leaks out not as truth, but as symptoms. The shadow becomes anxiety. It becomes envy. It becomes addiction. It becomes self-sabotage. It becomes projection. People think they are broken, but in Jung's frame, they are not broken. They are haunted by their own suppressed potentials. So the question becomes, how do we locate buried purpose inside the shadow? The first method is to study the patterns of what triggers you. The second method is to study who you envy. The third method is to study what you judge in others. Because all three are shadow windows. When a person is triggered by someone bold, there is usually a buried boldness inside them. If a person envies someone successful, there is usually a buried ambition inside them. If a person hates someone emotional, there is usually a buried sensitivity inside them. Jung believed human beings never react to neutrality. They react to mirrors. So in his psychology, triggers are maps. Envy is a breadcrumb trail. Judgment is a compass. Now, the three archetypal case studies. Case 1, the achiever shadow. This is the person who became agreeable because being powerful was punished in childhood. They build a personality around modesty. They disown their desire for influence, but secretly they hunger for impact. Jung would say, their purpose is in reclaiming the ambitious archetype. Case 2, the caretaker shadow. This is the person who became the healer for everyone else. They grew up in homes where caretaking was the only way to be safe. They suppressed their own needs, desires, boundaries. Jung would say, their purpose is in reclaiming their entitlement to have needs. Case 3, the ghost shadow. This is the person who lives dissociated, detached, hyper-rational. They survive by not feeling, because feeling was once dangerous. Jung would say, their purpose is buried in their emotional world, the world they shut down. These are not personality types. These are survival adaptations. These are the architectures of the false self. Jung's most terrifying statement was this: Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Most of what people call destiny is simply unexamined programming, patterns from childhood, repeated automatically in adulthood. Jung did not believe your future is something you find. He believed your future is something you recover from the unconscious. So how does this reveal life purpose? Through confronting the part of yourself you are most afraid to admit that you are. He observed that the shadow is not just the dark side, it is also the golden side, the buried talent, the buried genius, the buried desire. So a person's purpose is not in asking, what am I good at? It is in asking, what am I afraid to want? This is the diagnostic question. Which version of yourself would shock your family if you became them? The answer to that question usually reveals the purpose path. Jung believed that wholeness is not becoming good, it is becoming whole, integrating the trait you exiled, reclaiming the capacity you demonized, bringing home the parts you banished. Individuation is the process of excavating buried identity, and purpose is the natural byproduct. Meaning emerges when the authentic self is liberated. But one more Jungian layer remains. The shadow contains the life you were supposed to live. Not the life you adapted into. If someone wants to reveal their true purpose the Jungian way, they must stop trying to become better and begin to become truthful. They must track their envy. They must track their triggers. They must track their private fantasies. This is not pathology, this is intel. The shadow is a map. A person does not find their path, they reclaim it. Jung would say, the future self is already inside you, buried. The question is not, what career should I choose? The question is, what part of me must I resurrect? Purpose is the liberation of the original self. Purpose is the integration of what was banished. Purpose is the moment a human being stops managing their image and allows their essence to speak again. So the final Jungian question becomes, what is the one truth about yourself that you are most afraid to admit? Because that truth is the key. Because that truth is the compass. Because that truth is the doorway into the life you are actually meant to live.